Welcome to TMZ Live. There are some breaks in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Notably, authorities have now released a picture of a person of interest, and this seems to align with the person that they have been looking for now since the shooting. They got surveillance video at this university where Charlie Kirk was shot.
This is the information we have as of right now. It's about 3 p.m. on the West Coast. The images that they've released of the person of interest, it appears that they're walking in a hallway, I would assume on campus. The law enforcement said that they were able to, through use of cameras, track him arriving onto the campus yesterday.
About 25 minutes before the shooting.
Right, and moving through staircases and hallways. And then they also saw him leaving the campus. And notably, they have retrieved, while they don't have him yet, they said they have retrieved what they believe to be the weapon that was used. It was a rifle that was used to assassinate Charlie Kirk.
Found the rifle in the woods around that area. But also, when you look at this picture, it's not just the fact that you can see the image of his face, partially blocked by sunglasses, but that sweatshirt is somewhat distinctive. So what authorities, I think, are hoping is that it will be a combination where somebody says, yeah, I know that guy, I remember that shirt, because it's a pretty distinctive shirt.
Right. They've also announced a $100,000 reward for any info connected to this individual.
So there are things about this investigation that are puzzling. And in particular, that whoever did this feels not like an amateur. So let's talk to somebody who's done
someone who's
cases.
Had more than 20 years experience in the FBI. Greg Schaefer is a retired agent, and he is joining us right now. Greg, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thanks for having me.
So, Greg, out of the gate, it just really struck me that this horrible thing that happened was a one-shot assassination. That, when you look at things like, for example, Lee Harvey Oswald, there were multiple shots fired. This was so, precise from a long distance away and targeted so perfectly for what he was trying to accomplish. And his getaway was so stealth. It feels not like an amateur. And in particular, I noticed yesterday at the news conference, they thought they had a suspect in custody, according to Kash Patel. And yet they said, we will find you, which to me didn't feel like the same person if they thought they had a suspect in custody. So how are you kind of piecing this together, the precise shot and what was said at the news conference?
Well, you nailed it right, Harvey, when you said this was very precise, very intentional, where Charlie Kirk was targeted and he was the only one targeted. Unlike an active shooter event where there are mass casualties, we can infer from just the one shot taken that this was not a mass casualty active shooter event. This was a political assassination. The shooter took one shot, very accurate, put his target down, and then fled the scene. Had he wanted to have a mass casualty event, had he wanted to create an active shooter event, the shooter would have continued to fire into the crowd of 3,000 students. He did not do that. So it was a singular target. It was Charlie Kirk. And I wouldn't say he was professional, but he did have some good skill sets. He did have some good what we call tradecraft skills, being on the rooftop, taking a 200-yard shot. It's not impossible. It's not even that difficult, but you do have to train for it. Now, the fact that Charlie was hit on his left side neck shows that it wasn't truly a professional, because at that distance, there are only two places an assassin's going to aim. That's either going to be the face, the head, or center body mass. So if he was shooting center body mass, the shot ended up going high to the right. If he was shooting for the headshot, his shot went low to the right. So accuracy is not that great, but the round did hit the carotid artery, as you can well see in the video, with the amount of blood that was coming out of Charlie's neck, and it was an effective shot, and then he was able to escape. Now, at this time...
So, Greg, does that tell you that this individual is most likely not military, that were someone who has military experience and maybe just an avid hunter. Clearly, they have some skill with this weapon, even though it was not, you're saying, not, a precise shot.
I don't think it tells you that he's not military. He could very well be, or he could just be an avid hunter. Utah has some great hunting. I know it was a bolt-action rifle, which is very popular with hunters, with a good optic at 200 yards. Again, that shot is not that difficult. They did recover the weapon, again, with a bolt-action rifle. From what I understand, they did have partial palm print, and they did have, I think, some DNA recovered on the weapon as well. So it's only a matter of time before the FBI, quote unquote, gets its man. With that photograph now, and like Harvey, you said, a very distinctive sweatshirt, it's only a matter of time before somebody recognizes that individual, puts the phone call in, and he collects the $100,000 reward money.
Greg, one other thing that now that they've put out this photo, can we assume that this person does not have some prior record? Because this morning, early this morning, the FBI had a news conference. They said, we are not going to release his image. We are using technology, and we want to try to identify this individual. If that doesn't work, then we may release the image. And then a couple of hours later, they did. So can we infer that this person has no prior? They tried to find him in a database and were unsuccessful?
That would definitely be the inference that I would take away from this as well, yes. Like I said, I was told that there was some possible DNA recovered and a partial palm print recovered off the weapon. They ran that through the databases and came up empty. And they were hoping to solve this using technology and not releasing the photograph. Obviously, that did not work out. But releasing the photograph, I think, is definitely the best course of action because $100,000, you have to have a lot of really good, loyal friends not to turn you in for $100,000.
Okay, Greg, as always, we really appreciate you jumping on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of the things that we have heard a lot of people saying about Charlie Kirk, and this may really end up being his legacy, certainly politically, and hopefully it inspires people. The thing that was special about Charlie Kirk was that he had this desire to engage with people that he disagreed with politically. It was part of the reason he was doing his college tour that he was in the middle of yesterday was...
He was a recruiter.
He viewed it as he wanted to recruit people.
Right. He was a grassroots recruiter for young conservatives, and that was his mission.
But I feel like the way he recruited them was to engage people who disagreed with him, and it's almost like...
It's sort of like, let me convince you.
Let me convince you, or even if you're not convincing the person you're speaking with, but you're convincing the people who are watching, you have this discourse. And he did it with some very famous people who disagreed with him politically.
He did.
Among them, California Governor Gavin Newsom and Bill Maher. Charlie went on Club Random with Bill Maher.
Let's start with that because I know a little about this that, I don't think I'm divulging a secret here. But, Bill took a lot of heat for doing the interview. So many people were saying, how dare you do an interview with somebody, on the right this way? And, Bill Maher is just not that kind of guy. This is just like a little bit of the two of them who disagree fundamentally on most issues. But this is what happened when Bill sat down with Charlie.
Drink?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You don't drink?
No.
Or smoke pot?
No.
And you're married and super Christian. We're going to get along great.
This is going to just be perfect.
But can I just ask you, because I want to find out a lot about you, because you're obviously a super bright guy, but you do think that I have the right to live completely opposite than you do.
I think you can get as drunk as you'd like.
And you're that kind of an American, right? You're not forcing your opinions as.
I'm not here to say you can't. What are you talking about?
No, okay. So you think pot should be legal?
That's a complicated.
Oh, boy.
So Bill was pushing. He's like, he knew that he doesn't think pot could be legal. He's like, so you think it should be legal?
But they not only got along, but I texted Bill after this, and this was devastating to him. He spent a couple hours with this guy, and even though he disagreed, he ended up, and I'm sure he's going to talk about this tomorrow night on his show in real time, that he liked him as a person. And it's like people say, how dare you like somebody as a person?
Well, this is what Bill went through when he went and had the dinner
at the White House.
at the White House.
But good on Bill and good on Charlie. And they got along, even though they just disagreed. And you didn't have this intense volume that you kind of expect these days. You know, and Charlie did it with politicians.
Yeah, did it, like I said, with Gavin Newsom as well. And they had, very famously, when he came, I think he was the first guest that Newsom had on his podcast.
It may have been the first.
And this was a little bit of their, you know, they also had an exchange where it was very friendly, and they talked about Gavin's kids being excited that he was sitting down with Charlie. But this is what happened when they started talking about political differences.
Any Democrats you admire out there right now?
Democrats I respect.
You
Bobby
Manchin
Kennedy
type?
I respect. Tulsi Gabbard.
Why are you laughing? Why are you smiling?
Because like they're on our team now because you guys kicked out like your best
my
people.
God.
It's
Our
like the
best
people
people.
that were into. This is a great point though, Governor.
It is.
Is that Bobby Kennedy was a heterodox opinion on a thing that a lot of people were concerned about. Get him out. He's an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard, who was an anti-war. Get her out. She's a Russian agent.
Yeah.
Do you guys see how you have an unhealthy purification process
Yeah.
where eventually you're left with just a 31% approval rating and a bunch of people that are talking to each other? And meanwhile, we're the ones that have Democrats in our cabinet winning the electoral majority vote, because there needs to be said, if Democrats are serious about being a majority party ever again, look at that ideological diversity. We have people that, you know, geez, they want to go to war with every country that says something bad against us. And then we have people that are far more dovish, you know, like Rand Paul. But that is a better, more, dare I say, diverse picture. You could say diversity is our strength.
Oh, look at you.
So agree or disagree, it was civilized.
It was civilized, and I guess the lesson I see when I watched some of Charlie's interviews like that, where there are people that you oppose. If you sit down with someone that you disagree with politically and you want to have a conversation with them, maybe don't go into it thinking that I'm going to change their mind. It's not about changing someone's mind. It's about understanding where they're coming from.
This is Craig out of Florida. Charlie Kirk was a friend, and his team at Turning Point always treated me with an upright respect. He was a man of God, grounded in biblical principles. He stood boldly for open and free speech, and it is just a shame that people are walking all over this man's death. He stood for free speech and open dialogue and should never be cut down off of your beliefs. People demonize people easily that could be held responsible for the rhetoric right now of referring to people that are opposed of opinion. This is an open, free dialogue country, and we should all stand together in protecting that fundamental right of free speech.
God, I wish I
it
believed.
were
I
an
wish I
open, free dialogue
believed
country.
that what you're saying were true, but I got my doubts.
Doesn't feel like it today.
Coming up.
One of the more troubling parts of Charlie Kirk's assassination yesterday was learning that he had his family there. He had a lot of friends there, of course. Among them, Jason Chaffetz, the former U.S. congressman.
It was horrific. I've never experienced anything like that, and I hope nobody else in their lives ever has to experience it either.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. One of the more troubling parts of Charlie Kirk's assassination yesterday was learning that he had his family was there.
His wife and kids.
His wife and kids were there as this horrific event happened, and he had a lot of friends there, of course. Among them, Jason Chaffetz, the former U.S. congressman.
And Fox News contributor.
And we have to say, look, we know that it is, at this point, less than 24 hours since then. So, Jason, the fact that you are joining us right now, we really appreciate, and we offer our condolences, obviously. But there's some important things that we wanted to talk about Charlie's legacy with you. So,
but first of all, how are you doing? Because you had to watch this.
Yeah, look, I'm still in a bit of shock. I have every emotion. I'm sad and I'm mad. I'm frightened and I'm it's just every emotion that you can possibly imagine. Like I was there with, my wife was driving in, my daughter, son-in-law were there. I had been texting with Charlie Kirk prior, just saying, hey, we want to get together. I'd love to be able to say it. I've been friends with him. There's nobody in Republican politics at any senior level who doesn't know, like, and appreciate Charlie Kirk. And so we were there and in close proximity, and then the shot rang out, and it was horrific. I've never experienced anything like that, and I hope nobody else in their lives ever has to experience it either. It was just horrific.
Jason, what you just said there is obviously true, that you hope that no one has to experience this. The sad reality of life in America these days is that more and more people are experiencing that. And we spent hours yesterday talking about this as this happened to Charlie, just where we're going as a country and what everyone watching this, what politicians, what the media can do. Is there something that we can do that's going to turn this trend that we are clearly on right now?
Well, look, there are people that don't like Charlie Kirk and his message. There are people that disagree with him. I think the whole point, though, of Charlie Kirk and his success is that he was challenging particularly young people to think and say, hey, you can disagree with me. Here's what I believe, but come to the microphone 10 feet from me and let's have this dialogue. I mean, the whole message of Charlie was we better be able to talk to each other from differing viewpoints. Otherwise, it's going to lead to violence. And so for somebody to use violence to silence a guy whose message was, hey, let's talk it out. He was very conservative. He was very Christian. And I don't expect everybody to have those same principles. But he was so successful for a younger generation. 95% of the people there in that crowd were less than 30 years old.
Right.
And they were anxious to hear the lively debate. So, YouTube is great. You can go online, get videos, see some stuff quick on social media. But to actually have it live where you can have the interaction and the banter, that's where Charlie was just literally a rock star, like nobody else.
I got to say something to you. One of the reasons I personally wanted to have you on is because of our relationship. I consider you a friend. And I've known you for a long time. When you were in Congress, went to lunch together, had a lot of talks, and we disagree on a lot. But I really consider you a friend, and that resonates with me, knowing what Charlie Kirk was doing, and I'm just wondering, because you are the kind of guy who can have discussions with people you disagree with. It feels like that's going away, and if that goes away, to me, the foundation of democracy crumbles. I'm really worried. I'm really worried about that. How do you feel?
I totally agree with you, Harvey. And Julie and I, we have the greatest relationship and respect for you because we reached out, we talked, you opened the doors, we started, hey, come, let's talk about this. And you're right, we come from different political viewpoints and in life experiences. But I was chairman of the oversight committee. I'd be in hearings and you would be texting me, ask him this, ask him that. It was just unbelievable. But you and I would have vibrant discussions off air, not in front of cameras and stuff. And that's what we got to get to. That's what Charlie Kirk was doing. That's why I think this is so devastating. And I've been in politics for longer than I care to remember now. I was in Congress 8 years. I'm on Fox News talking politics every day. And I worry, just like you, that we got to be able to talk to each other. We got to be able to have in-person meetings. And now I'm just, fearful that the idea of having a political rally is just unfeasible.
I was just going to say, Jason, we're heading into an election year. And what does this do for candidates all across the country who are going to be on the campaign trail doing what they do, and for their supporters who want to come out and, show their support. But can you do that now with any confidence that you will leave unscarred?
Well, look, we were gravitating down this path. 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. At a congressional level, I do a lot of parades and those types of things. And those may be part of the past. And it's sad because I think the public loses out. They need to have connection with their voters, you know, and you got high profile races. People ought to be able to come here, interact. I studied Abraham Lincoln. This is how Abraham Lincoln became Abraham Lincoln. Is he'd go town to town,
Right.
And he'd out there, and
That's
he'd
exactly
yell,
right.
and he would give these meetings and have these discussions, and America, they learned to think, and that's what it scares me about this younger generation, this under 30, because they've seen now 2 attempts on President Trump. You've seen one on Charlie Kirk, you know, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You have other high profile, and it's going to shut down the dialogue. And that's not healthy. We can't just do everything online. I mean, we just can't. We shouldn't.
What was the environment, by the way, Jason, yesterday? I know you said, like, you know, obviously most of the people there were supporting Charlie, but there were people who showed up to debate him. Was there did it feel, I don't know how long you were there before the event kicked off, did it feel tense at all? Or was it just, you know, these were students who were dialogue?
I showed up probably an hour ahead of time, and there were people already lined up. Couldn't wait to have a discussion with Charlie Kirk. They were chanting USA, USA. They were chanting Charlie Kirk's name. And then he came out and he was throwing the hats, and the crowd was all excited. And, you know, the very first question he got was about religion. And he said, look, we're all on our own spiritual journey. I happen to believe in Jesus Christ. And he said, no, I don't expect everybody here to feel the same way that I do. We all have to figure that out. And then he got a second question. The shot rang out. And it was just, everybody hit the deck. There was panic. People started screaming. And then they started running. And then, you know, I saw it. And I wish I could unsee it.
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to stick with you for a long time. Jason, we so appreciate
Thank you so much.
you coming on. Take care of yourself.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coming up.
Sam Asghari's fighting words about K-Fed, about Britney Spears' previous husband.
Calling him a professional husband.
Yes. So K-Fed heard what Sam Asghari said. We told you about that a few weeks ago. And now he is responding.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
TMZ.
Sam Asghari's fighting words about K-Fed, about Britney Spears' previous husband.
Calling him a professional husband.
Yes.
And the intimation is
a professional parent.
Professional parent.
Yes.
Getting $40,000 a month in child support for the 2 kids, which he raised.
Yeah. So K-Fed heard what Sam Asghari said. We told you about that a few weeks ago. And now he is responding. He's basically telling Sam Asghari, what, are you jealous that I was a good parent?
Well, I think I have a different take on this. But by the way, you're going to look at this, and let's just call it for what it is. This is such a setup shot.
Yes. Setup meaning that K-Fed wanted to say what you're going to hear him say
and
here.
Just happened to find a photographer at the most scenic place in Oahu.
Sam has said something about you. Have you heard what he said?
Yes. I'm not too worried about what Sam thinks, but I do love the tagline, professional father.
How do you feel about that? Can you tell us something about that?
I think every father should strive to be a professional father.
So, I mean, I do think there's a point that he's making. And I want to say one thing out of the gate. Neither Sam Asghari nor Kevin Federline has spoken ill of Britney. And it is interesting because they all have stories, for sure, but neither has done it. But they've gone a little bit after each other. But Sam's point was, you're sponging off of her getting money. Kevin's retort is, there's virtue in being a professional father.
Well, Kevin
because
is ignoring
I raised the kids.
Kevin is clearly ignoring the insinuation that Sam made that you're just in this.
You're freeloading, yeah.
And Kevin is addressing it more like, no, I was a good parent.
It's a badge
to
of
our
honor.
sons,
He's saying. A badge of honor.
Which, by the way, everyone has agreed. Everyone involved in Britney and Kevin's world. No one said that Kevin did a bad job raising his kids.
Well, if it weren't for Kevin, then who? Because Brittany couldn't, and the kids didn't want it for a long, long time. So Kevin was raising those kids 100% of the time. And if the shoe's on the other foot and it's the woman getting support but raising the kids, people wouldn't utter a peep.
They wouldn't say that she's a professional mother.
That's right. But so what's the difference with a father?
Right.
What's going to be interesting is Kevin, like you guys said, he's never really spoken ill will about Brittany ever, but he has a book that's coming out in October called You Thought You Knew. And remember, Brittany came out with her book a year or two ago, and she did talk about Kevin. She had some unpleasant things to say about him, said that he was just totally, starstruck by the lifestyle, and she saw him just floating away from her because he was so enthralled with wanting to be a DJ and hanging out with celebrities. So it'll be interesting to see what Kevin has to say.
Yeah.
And also addressing, like you guys said, just the notion that Kevin got all this money from Brittany and just got a big payday, and that was it.
The kids got the money.
Kevin got the money.
But
don't mistake.
He did. But he had to raise the kids.
There's no shopping list the judge gives saying you buy this, 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 and this with the money. That Kevin has the discretion to use the money for the benefit of the kids. But it's a very blurry thing. It's a very blurry thing. Does the house you buy, is it for the kids or is it for the family or for you?
You're raising the kids there, so,
Celeste, New York. Kevin Federline has 6 children ranging in age from 10 to 22 with 3 different baby mothers. And I don't know what kind of game he's got, but if nothing else, if he's not a professional father, he's definitely a professional baby maker. So I don't know what kind of game he's running to, collect baby mothers and children like Infinity Stone, but, God bless him.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Coming up.
Well, we, of course, have been talking about the Charlie Kirk case. But today in Washington, D.C., the president was at the Pentagon to mark the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And when the president came out, he, of course, opened his remarks with an announcement about Charlie Kirk.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. We, of course, have been talking about the Charlie Kirk case. But today is also the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And there were events in New York to mark that. They had moments of silence at the times.
It was really moving.
In Washington, D.C., the president was at the Pentagon, where they also had an event to mark this very somber occasion. And when the president came out, he, of course, did talk a lot about the heroics of Americans, civilians and first responders. But he did open his remarks with an announcement about Charlie Kirk.
Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
So, I want to say something interesting about Charlie Kirk is that what Jason Chaffetz said, which is that he was in the center, the nucleus of the conservative movement in America, and that you have to look to young people, and he was the magic for a lot of that movement in terms of how he can mobilize and inspire people, and that's why his orbit runs throughout the whole conservative movement, right? Because everybody touches Charlie Kirk in that sense.
Well, and I'm sure all the Republican politicians want the base that Charlie Kirk brings,
of course,
can bring with him. So
the Medal of Freedom, honestly, is the highest, unsurprising that Trump
it is the
giving
highest
him that.
Civilian honor. And you heard the president. He said there's going to be a date announced when they're going to do it, and that there's
going to be a big crowd,
a huge crowd. Which, when you say huge crowds now, at a political gathering of any sorts, I just it's
You
just
were
different.
you worry.
Yeah.
You worry.
This is what I mean. We've seen presidents of all parties just kind of give these things away so often to their friends. Like, remember Trump giving one away to Tiger Woods,
To Rush Limbaugh.
Right, Obama to Ellen. I mean, it's just you give it to their celebrity friends. I think if anybody is deserving of this, it's Charlie Kirk for getting the young people involved. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, he got the young people involved like we have not seen anybody do in decades, at least that I can think of.
And that's true. He got young people involved.
Oh, there'll be criticism.
There's going to be criticism
yeah.
because of some of the things that Charlie Kirk espoused and the things that he said. There are going to be people who, but you're right that anytime someone gets a Medal of Freedom, someone who goes, they don't deserve it because of X, Y, or Z.
There's rarely a moment where somebody gets it where they're completely disembodied from politics.
Nobody agrees on anything.
Yeah. So unsurprising, it's going to happen.
But do you go, I mean, seriously, like whenever, and I would imagine this is probably sometime in the next couple of months
you would
that
think
he
so.
would do it, and you have this large, and we touched on this with Jason Chaffetz earlier, that what happens at political rallies, at political events now going forward as we are heading into an election year? Certainly the Medal of Freedom, the president is there, so there's going to be intense security.
Right. Although, Charles, as we've seen, that might not even matter.
But you know what? But the other thing too is this: that after Butler, there was a lot of talk that there would no longer be outdoor rallies, events, but there were.
But do you think now they say hard?
I know, but this always happens.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just because I'm old. I mean, I remember going back, and one of the big things that actually did change with the president was when President Kennedy was shot. They had a bubble top for that Lincoln that they had taken off that day. And that was a big deal. And it was a point of controversy that they took that bubble top off. And you don't see presidents riding in open-air limousines.
Do you think you'll see
anymore.
anybody without a bulletproof glass in front of them anymore at this point? Probably not.
You will absolutely see that bulletproof glass. The question is, will you see outdoor rallies? I don't see how you can run where everything is in a closed venue. I just don't think that's possible.
Hi, my name is Larissa, and I'm currently located in Provo, Utah. My husband and I were in attendance yesterday and witnessed the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It was truly horrific and devastating. Something that I wanted to point out was just minutes before he was killed, he testified of his faith in Jesus Christ and declared him as our Lord and Savior. And I just wanted to point that out because he recently said in a podcast, if he was killed, he wanted to be remembered for his courage, for his faith. So I just felt that that was notable to mention, that he spent the first large portion of the debate. I mean, it was just starting, but he spent the first portion talking about his beliefs, which I really respected. After the shooting, my husband and I sprinted away, and some people dropped down and ducked. We were at the back of the crowd, so we were close to a building, so we sprinted inside. We were on lockdown. We were eventually released because they had caught the shooter, but it wasn't the right guy. And when we got home, we were finally able to process, and it's so devastating. My heart goes out to his family and to everyone else who was there, because it was truly a traumatic experience. I don't think violence is the answer to anything. And it was just that was not the answer. That was a horrific experience I wouldn't wish upon anyone.
Sorry you had to deal with that.
Yeah, it's so much to witness. And her story, there are thousands of people who are there who are going through the same thing today. It's so traumatic.
Coming up.
Sydney Sweeney fans might not recognize Sydney Sweeney in her next movie. We'd seen some of the photos when she was shooting this movie, Christie.
About boxer Christy Martin.
It feels like one of those movies where they're aiming for this to be something the Academy takes a closer look at.
Oh, I got something to say about that because I got some recon.
Be right back.
Well, Sydney Sweeney fans might not recognize Sydney Sweeney in her next movie. We'd seen some of the photos when she was shooting this movie, Christie. where
About
she's
boxer Christy Martin.
Right, she's playing the boxer Christy Martin. The first trailer is out now, and yes, she is almost unrecognizable. But also, this feels like one of those movies where they're aiming for this to be something the Academy takes a closer look at.
Oh, I got something to say about that because I got some recon.
Oh, okay. Well, here's just a little bit of Sydney Sweeney in Christy.
You the world champion right now. You think you what makes the world turn. But one day you're gonna wake up and realize that it turns just fine without you.
What are you doing sneaking around behind my back?
Sneaking around. Hey, Dad. I think I want to come home.
There's no Christy Martin without me.
I need help, Mama. He's angry at me all the time. Oh, Christy. You sound crazy.
If you leave me, I'll kill you.
So she got a huge standing ovation at the Toronto Film Festival. I talked to somebody before that was shown at the festival. And it had been shown selectively to various people, some of whom were connected with the Motion Picture Academy. And they were saying flat out that this was absolutely an Oscar contender.
Worthy.
Her performance, this could be transformative for Sydney Sweeney.
I have to say, when you said that about a week or so ago, I was like, okay, we'll see. But after watching this trailer today, I'm kind of convinced. I didn't think Sydney Sweeney was going to be able to pull it off, honestly. She's kind of usually played a ditzy character, but this got me.
We know this is what actors do, right? You take the role where you don't look anything like yourself,
right?
Where you're, I mean,
Margot Robbie and I, Tonya.
There have been exactly. There have been so many critics of Sydney Sweeney who have said she's nothing but her boobs, right? That's it's all about all of her roles.
Not a good actress.
Not a great actress.
Right.
It's all about her sex appeal. This is a role that has nothing to do with sex appeal.
Right. If she becomes a certified movie star in that sense,
right.
That is top of the heap.
My name is Nolan. I'm in New York City. I think this is the perfect moment for Sydney Sweeney, considering all the backlash that she got for the American Eagle campaign. I think that this could be the perfect moment to just knock that all out the way. I do think unpopular opinion, and I'm getting a lot of flack for this, but I'm a huge fan of Sydney Sweeney on Euphoria, so I think that this is the perfect role for her to knock out.
By the way, I think you're looking at American Eagle wrong. There are no regrets that she did American Eagle. American Eagle
raised her Q rating.
Oh, did wonders for her marketability.
Yes, there were people who found it controversial,
which is exactly what American Eagle
raises
wanted.
your Q rating.
Right.
Coming up.
Oh, to live the life of Neo. What a dream.
Oh, boy.
What a dream. Or maybe a nightmare. Yesterday, we saw him out in LA. He's got 4 girlfriends
So he's
now.
got this polyamorous thing going.
What's the latest with you and the ladies? Is it still 4 or what's the next thing?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Be right back.
Oh, to live the life of Neo. What a dream.
Oh, boy.
What a dream. Or maybe a nightmare.
Boy, you could just read Charles's mind there.
Or maybe a nightmare. Listen, a few years ago, we started seeing Neo out with 2 girlfriends. Once you have 2, well, you got to have 3. Yesterday, we saw him out in LA. He's got 4 girlfriends
So he's
now.
got this polyamorous thing going.
Yes.
And it is fascinating.
I don't know how he makes it work. I don't know how they make it work. But here's what they told us that they were, by the way, out on a shopping spree.
A Skims shopping spree.
They went to Skims to buy some lingerie. But here's what they had to say about their relationship.
Hey, Neo, great to see you.
You too, love.
Oh, great. I wanted to ask you, I know a lot of people are always curious about your lifestyle. Would you ever, take it to the reality TV scope,
Absolutely not. Nah, I'm good on that.
No.
Your reality is your reality. Indeed.
This is your life.
My life is a movie as is. I'm good. I don't need to.
What's the latest with you and the ladies? Is it still 4 or what's the next thing?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
I know.
Our feet, 1 feet.
What does the future look like for all of you guys right now?
Bright.
What about taking it to the next step? Awesome, Neo.
Well, I don't know what the next step is.
Jordan was trying to say marriage. Would you marry one or
Is it still? It's not legal.
I don't think it's legal even in Utah.
No, I think it's not. So, Jordan.
Yes, there's not going to be.
Although what an interesting reality show.
Hey guys, it's Coco Lily coming to you live from DC, and I'm chiming in on the Neil story. Now, listen, if a reality show happened with that kind of plot twist, that's crazy. But I think that's definitely going to incite some messiness because now the women are going to be like, well, I feel like I should be the one that. I don't know, but that would be interesting.
How could he not do a reality show? That is just crying for a reality show.
He doesn't need any more drama.
That's true. What else do you guys want to talk about?
This is Nick from Philadelphia. Charlie Kirk did not deserve to die expressing his right to free speech. I feel for his kids. My biggest fear as a dad is leaving my kids behind. But the hypocrisy coming out of the White House is dividing the country even more. The White House was not this enraged when Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband died. Trump did not fly flags at half-staff, nor did he make an official statement. The hypocrisy has to stop, and we all have to come together about sensible gun control so this stops.
It sounds so obvious on the one hand and so impossible on the other.
Right.
One more.
Hi, I'm Caitlin from New York City. This is such a nuanced topic of discussion, and it's very unfortunate that we have to worry about political acts of violence, and I don't ever condone them. However, it's unfortunate that a lot of what Charlie Kirk said and stood for was kind of related to violence and promoting guns, and he completely, I feel like, misrepresented gun violence in America. And as a queer woman myself, I have to say, he thought queer people should be stoned to death. It's just so hard to kind of pick a side when there feels like there's no side on this.
This is what you are going through is what we were saying yesterday about the First Amendment, right? That you clearly find much of Charlie Kirk's beliefs abhorrent, but the First Amendment means you support his right to say them. You don't have to agree with it. It is,
and you don't
what
have to use violence to prove your point.
And you don't need violence. But what you are feeling is what a lot of people feel, and it's hard to say this, but that's what you have to embrace. That person you disagree with, vehemently disagree with, has their right to say it.
In a democracy.
In a democracy, as long as that remains.
Coming up.
Police still searching for their person of interest.
But something may have happened because there was supposed to be a news conference. It has been delayed because of what they say, the FBI says, are fast-moving developments.
Be right back.
So as we are speaking to you now, police still searching for their person of interest.
But something may have happened because literally right now, there was supposed to be a news conference. It has been delayed because of what they say, the FBI says, are fast-moving developments. They have released a picture of the person of interest that they seem to believe may be the shooter. By the way, you don't see just his face, but that's a distinct sweatshirt. They have offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to his arrest, and a rapidly moving development feels like
that means
they may be honing in.
That they are on following a lead that they feel strongly about. Could be honing on him, could be honing it, as we've said.
On more than one person.
We don't know if there are other individuals involved here, but obviously keep watching, checking in at TMZ.com. We'll have the latest developments. And, this is a tense time for our country, so.
Very.